Welcome back to Overdunk, everybody, your favorite competitive Pokemon UNITE podcast. This is episode 97. We're getting very close to triple digits. We really gotta think about what we're gonna do with for an episode 100. But either way, we are here. It is just Doob Snacks and I on the podcast today. Unfortunately, Bridget a little under the weather, but it's also her birthday today. So if you are on the if you're watching this live, make sure to give her a biggest of happy birthday wish on social media, on Discord, wherever you can find her. And then when she's back on the episode next time, we'll definitely have to have a bunch of like special Ditto merch drop segments and things like that for Bridget for her birthday. We'll have to make sure that happens. But unfortunately, no Bridget for this episode, but that's all right. Doob Snakes, just the Unite Mikes duo back again for this episode. How you been this last week, my friend?
Been good. I actually got to game a little bit yesterday, which was terrific. I haven't gotten to actually play Unite in a minute, so that felt pretty cool. I think I'm sitting at 1497, so we're making good pace to get 1600 by the end. And I'm just excited for this Aeos Cup, man. It's gonna be sick.
What have you been grinding? Like when you are playing, do you have are you playing just mostly support, or are you mixing it up a little bit?
So I'm getting drafts now, and I have been playing mostly support in those setups. A lot of Eldegoss lately. Cool. A lot of Eldegoss.
Yeah. Eldegoss, pretty insanely high win rate on a lot of comp levels as well. I feel like that is a Pokemon that we might see skyrocketing to the banning phase in a lot of our competitive tournaments very, very soon. But we'll see. I've been playing a bunch too. I've been kind of Mimikyu one-tricking it out there ever since LATAM and North America showed me the way on how powerful that Pokemon could be. I've been having a lot of fun with Mimikyu out there on the ladder. Not the best win rate. The play rough Shadow Sneak build is kind of whatever. That's mostly just timings and like knowing when to go in and go out, and that's fine. Like I can get away with that. Just like the generic like how to time your Unite, how to play around with your team with Mimikyu is something I'm still learning. So to my teammates, I'm sorry or you're welcome. It really is a coin flip if you get Zoink's Mimikyu on your team, whether we have a big game or not. So thank you all for the success. But yeah, today's episode, everybody, if you were listening live or listening in podcast land a little bit later, we are going to be basically treating this whole episode as our EUIC preview show. Now, I know it's not this weekend. It'll be the following one, but we most likely will not have an episode between now and the actual event. So we're going to be talking all about that event right now. And then final piece of housekeeping before we get started in the episode, we are in the middle of a factor campaign for the Unite Mike's channel. We're raising a little bit of money. So if you are in chat, !factor, we'll give you the link to that command. If you want to order some delicious food, so already sent meals that are just reheatable and very easy to do on the go and healthy conscious. And every single order really helps out our channel. So thank you so much for everybody who's been supporting us on that end. But anyway, that being said, Doob Snacks, let's start talking about EUIC. You and I were there last year. It is a very different event than last year, format-wise. Obviously, it's been changed from just basically a showcase of Europe to an international stage, and a lot of that. However, EUIC was pretty cool. Last year, it was the first like just solo region in-person event put on by Unite Championship Series. We got to just kind of see the entire European community, or at least the competitive community, turn up for it and be really excited. From what I'm seeing, there's still a lot of that showing up, but also some new love. But anyway, did you enjoy EUIC last year? Are you looking forward to this one as well?
I'm very looking forward to this one. I think this kind of I keep calling it a pseudo mid-season showdown, and having everybody show up to it is terrific. Why I call it EUIC of international representation? Because it's on the continent of Europe. That's it. That's anybody can show up to Pokemon events no matter where they are on the planet.
Yeah.
Within. Well, even you can go play in Japan if you want to. You go play in their leagues too. So it's not even TPC, TPCI. Even that's not really split apart for most of the other games. So that's pretty much it. That being said, I'm super excited. We've got representation from all over the place. This open bracket is going to be wild. I can't wait. KS going to steal our world spot. then we weren't good enough to have that extra one anyway. So what do you want to talk about? I mean, it's literally KS versus the planet. So if they come out with it, then they certainly earned it. Not too sure how you argue that point, but I'm so jacked. Like to see like Kashivan's like go head to head with some of these teams. You know, we've already got the like Zervis, Mazo like head to head action starting to come out. I think I saw those tweets going back and forth. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
It's also Zervis like being, please don't beat us again, which was very funny. The official Unite Championship Series getting involved a little bit, but yeah, Eeyore, I think you're coming to this event, right? Are you playing in the Open? If I'm trying to remember correctly, but yes, the we'll be talking a lot about. I see some questions about format already in chat and stuff about teams. Yeah, we're going to be talking about all that today. So I think that's probably a good place to start at now is definitely how the event actually works. So I'm going to auditorily explain it, and then we will take a look at some graphics about teams that are in and who has played and things like that. But that's what we'll look at in a second. But basically, the event is structured into 3 stages. A open bracket where anyone could register that is a Swiss format, where teams will compete against each other in best of 1 Swiss rounds, I believe 5 rounds. And out of that format, the top 8 performing teams will make it out and into the group stage. The group stage is put into 4 groups, so group A, B, C, and D, where 2 invited teams are already moved on to the group stage. So they will be awaiting their open bracket teams. And each of our groups this time around are actually pretty different. In the past, all the group stages that we have seen in Pokemon Unite have been round robin. These are what's called GSE brackets, but are technically double elimination group stage, which basically means you have a tiny little double elim bracket between just 4 teams in each group. And I'll explain that a little bit better when we actually take a look at the groups. And then after that, that'll be the end of day 1, and day 2 will be a top 8 bracket, with 2 teams emerging from each group. Now, I know how I just mentioned that a team will be making it out of one of the groups via the winner's side of that middle double elim, and one team will be making it out of the loser's side of the double elim. I don't have any confirmation on this, but with the way that we've been running tournaments so far this season, and the fact that top 8 has to be done in 1 day, I think it is a very safe assumption that day 2, top 8, will have 4 teams starting in the winner's bracket and 4 teams starting in the loser's bracket. Whatever team was able to make it out of the winner's side of their mini double elim in their group will start in winner's side, and whatever team made it out through losers will start in the loser side of top 8. Which, yeah, that's the format. Deuce, anything to add to that before we cruise on?
Nope, I think you crushed it.
Cool. Let's jump to, let's do the Swiss thing first. I feel like the Swiss is the interesting part because we don't know. Well, we do know, but we don't. Nothing's guaranteed here. So right now, this is a list of all of the teams that are currently registered for the open bracket. 5 registered players / pending alt. I believe these first 5 are still in waiting. I think they're like waiting on their substitute to be confirmed, but All in the Black, Yalla Bingo, FA Brazil, Shunirude, and Luminosity we're all waiting on. All of these teams below are confirmed. So if you're counting really quick, we have 23 teams. Oh, Lex, sick. You're entered into this tournament? That's so cool. I can't wait to watch you play it. But yeah, these are your competition, who you're going to be playing against. And reminder, everybody, for how Swiss works, every team is confirmed now, except FA Brazil. Okay, thank you so much, Bina. But basically, these teams will be randomly placed against an opponent in round 1. If you win, you will play against an opponent who is 1-0, and so forth until 5 rounds of Swiss are done. Twitch for free is in the top 8. They won Aeos Cup play-ins, so they will be in the group stage already. These teams that we are looking at is the open bracket teams. But yeah, obviously there's some crazy good names on here. Like we have basically the top 4 of NA and AU already signed up. And some really incredible squads as well. I mean, obviously, FA Brazil would be really exciting to get them in. Have more Brazil representation at this tournament would be cool. I'm super pumped for E7 Jonas. They just won LATAM North, which I think is a super competitive region. But any teams you're really excited to see on this list, who's next?
All of them. I mean, the
Okay,
fact that
yes.
like Brave Birders is crossing the waters, you know what I mean?
They were
I
one
mean,
of the
of
first
course,
ones signed up, actually, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly. I think Call Tang swooped right in there, pardon the pun. So yeah.
I mean, look at the. I mean, there's high octane team names there.
Yep.
Nemesis, of course.
Yep.
You know, we're just talking about NA. You know, GT's gonna be there, but then you still have like Yalla Bingo signed out, ready to go. Outer Banks, who had a decent showing, looking to bounce back. Other EU top 8 teams like De Croissance is gonna be there. A through K. I guess they dropped the L because they ain't looking to lose.
Hey.
So I mean, just the fact that we've got multiple regions showing up is so sick.
Oh yeah, it is going to be fantastic. Probably the most exciting part about this tournament, not probably, by far the most exciting part of the tournament is that we have so much international competition. So, going to be awesome. Yeah, I believe Shin and Rude is the APAC team. Eeyore was talking about who they actually are higher up in the chat, but
Yep, SAR.
that's right. Rise isn't going SAR. So yeah, Shin and Rude, very very cool. Gosh, so anyway, these are the teams that are going to be competing in the Swiss format. Now, we wanted to explain this a little bit better because people, not everybody knows how Swiss format works, but basically there are 23 teams, and there are 5 rounds of Swiss, and we are cutting to a top 8. So basically the top 8 teams of this will emerge out of the Swiss format. So let's run the calculator. This is based on the 23 teams that have signed up. Basically, 0.7, or a very high likelihood that one team will emerge 5-0 out of the Swiss format. Only one team will be able to do that statistically, and the odds are there might not even be one 5-0 team. In fact, there could be just more 4-1 teams. 5-0 team. The 3.6 of these teams will be at 4-1, so 3 to 4 teams will be at 4-1, and 3 and 2 will be 7.2. So basically, what this is saying is to be safe and no matter what, make it into the top 8, you will need to go 4-1 in Swiss. This will guarantee your spot in the top 8. If you go 3-2, there is a high likelihood that you make it. But there is a chance that you don't. So basically, this is how it's lining up. Any better description than that? I feel like
no, you pretty much nailed it. Just to kind of harp on this 3-2 thing, you either want you want your losses. Not that you want losses, but if you're to get losses, you want your losses to be against teams that are outperforming you, right? You don't want to have one of your losses be a team that goes 1-4.
Yes.
So like ideally, if you're 3-0 and you lose the next 2, you're probably really high up on the tiebreakers for the 3-2s because you lost to somebody else that was 3-0, putting them at 4-0, right? And then the next thing being, of course, you lose to somebody else that's 3-1, they become 4-1, they also make it in, their record is good, drags you up. So that is how the tiebreakers work. It's obviously wins losses, your win percentage, and then it's opponent's win percentage, and then it's opponent's win percentage.
Right.
That's how it goes down.
And if that's too much jargon, it's basically like the stronger opponents you faced, the better tiebreaker you have. The stronger opponents are basically the better scoring opponents you faced.
The thing is, best of 1 Swiss misses a few of the most important tiebreakers. How?
I think they're meaning in like in how a tiebreaker would work in a normal Unite competition, but I mean this is a little different. But yeah, so that is what we are looking to. Obviously, it will be a little strange. Yeah, but
that doesn't matter. So the legs 2-1 versus 2-0, i.e., no, that doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, I see what they're saying, but for this format of a tournament, it wouldn't matter. obviously, because it's best to one. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So essentially, all that all that best of threes do versus best of one is add more data into that percentage, but it doesn't change what the percentage is, like how the percentage is calculated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you still have a win percentage, you still have an opponent's win percentage, you still have an opponent's win percentage.
Right.
So like a best of three has more data to throw in there, but it doesn't change how that works. So it doesn't necessarily impact anything. Like, I guess what would happen is if like your opponent's win percentage is tied, like what's the next factor you go to? But I'm too stupid. I don't want to think about that. So I'm just going to leave it to where I understand it.
And then the teams that do make it out of the open bracket are going to be lining up in these groups. You can see how they're actually seeded in terms of seeds. So open bracket 4 and 5 seed will be going into Group A, 2 and 7 will go into Group B, Group C will get 3 and 6, and Group D will get 1st and 8th open bracket seed, which will be very, very interesting. Because obviously the open bracket number 1 seed will be most likely the only team to go 5-0 out of groups, which will end up in Group D. But yeah, Group C, definitely a wild card with 4 free NKs, 2 incredibly strong teams. A very, very, very exciting matchup between these two. Now, I talked a little bit of format-wise before in this episode about how these groups are not round robins. These are small double elimination brackets that lead into a top 8 tomorrow. What I'm assuming is, for the sake of time, each of these groups are going to be starting at the same time as the open bracket Swiss stage. So basically, each group will play out their 2 teams that are already included. So Alter Ego and Antic will play, Unite, Holic, and Rework Respawn will play, Case and 4 Free will play, and Legacy and Fusion will play. Then they, later on, we will have these 2 open bracket teams compete against each other, and so forth, until all 4 groups have had 2 matches play out, and then the winners of those groups will also play to see who makes it into top 8, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. Group C, I definitely think could feel like the group of death. I mean, you've seen 3 and 6, which, I don't know, in a stacked open, as much as that is, I don't really know how much that's going to change anything. It's just going to be good teams who make it out of the open bracket, no matter what. But they're going to be
I kind of find it humorous as we talk about like Group D could be insanely difficult, right? Because that 1 seed theoretically went 5-0. Or they gave up a win like at the very end to drag somebody else in, right? So that number 1 seed could be like GT, right? It could be Nouns, it could be LG, like it could be high octane squads, it could be E7. So like that's not free. And also when you think about Group A, 4-5 seed, the 4-5 seed is most likely teams that went 4-1.
Exactly. Yeah.
So then you're talking about, you're still talking about Nemesis. You're still talking about A through L. You're still talking about Nouns. You're like all of these are going to be tough unless there's an absolute throttling in this Swiss stage, and you get a bunch of where it's almost impossible looking at this team, like these team lists. Like everybody has some fuel to them. So I don't think there's anything free about this Aeos Cup group stage.
Oh my gosh. No. Yeah, this is an unbelievably difficult path for these teams. There is some exciting stuff. Obviously, I think a lot of people are considering 4 Free to be one of the best teams worldwide right now. I know they did lose to Yalla Bingo and EU, but a lot of stocks are pretty high on this team. They're going up against Case, which is, I mean, the winner of the Asia Champions League, the biggest, highest profile tournament recently. It was in a completely different format, in like a weird draft format, but it still existed. But anyway, that'll be a super sick match to watch. Oh, so funny. I saw Chelvin talking about it on Twitter. It's like somehow Luminosity is going to find a way to be in Group C, and it's going to be Overlord versus Chelvin in group stage again every single year.
For the 3rd like international event in a row.
So funny.
That is funny. I'm very excited about this 4 Free team. They're a lot of fun to watch. They play very well. Yalla Bingo is super exciting too. Can't wait to see what they put together. I mean, this tournament is going to be sick. And the fact we're getting so much coverage of the games is awesome.
Yes, that is actually what we have to talk about in a second. But I just want to focus on the storylines a little bit with the groups, even just with the 2-team matchups. We have some fun ones. Group A, Alter Ego, very high on this squad. Antic Esports, they have been in London for like almost a week now. They have been boot camping for a while, which is super sick. So Antic Esports definitely putting their nose to the grindstone and really wanting to be as prepared as they possibly can for the S Cup. It's a 100K tournament, right? So you definitely want to be getting some cash and performing it. Obviously, they're going for even more than that. Potential world spot on the line for this tournament. Unite Holic versus Rework Respawn. I saw JL tweet about this. But this is a really cool matchup. At Worlds, this was... Well, Mame's team, that was Oisui Macro, got moved to the Rework Respawn group, or at that time, I think they were Entity 7, right? It was Reggie's team. But Reggie, they had a substitute last minute. Oisui Macro got swapped, right? It felt like, I don't know, there's a lot of question marks there, but now we kind of have no excuses or just full strength rosters from both of them in Group B, which is going to be pretty awesome to see that matchup. And then Legacy and Fusion is sick. These are two of the most winningest teams, or winningest rosters of 5 players that we've had in competitive Unite. Like, Legacy kind of cleans up in Brazil. They didn't win last one, but overall, they're very, very successful. And Fusion, it seems like they just can't lose a tournament. So I think this is a lot of really fun storylines already just in the group stage.
There are so many good things going on here. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so good.
It is. Now, one thing, well, we can bring this one up first, I guess, is we are confirmed to be casting group stage and finals. So there's the line above of us on the broadcast. We are going to be doing that one, which is super exciting. I can't wait to do it. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited to go to London again. But one thing that is really cool, that is a brand new thing for the Unite Championship Series, is that the open bracket stage, that best of one Swiss that we talked about, is going to be streamed on Unite Battle Hub. So a community grassroots organization that you and I have both worked with before. We absolutely adore these people. Bacon, Kello, Relic, and Soph are going to be the casters. But it's going to be run on the Unite Battle Hub channel, which is so sick. Like, I can't really understate how unprecedented this is in Pokemon, to have like a grassroots organization working hand in hand with a official organization. Like, they've definitely utilized grassroots organizations before, but never really like right there with them. So I don't know, it's super exciting. So very, 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 very pumped to have them pulling this off.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. It's super exciting. It does show that, at least on the TPCI side, they're paying attention to these grassroots streams. We've already seen, Kello essentially be hosting all of the unofficial yet official, like OCE broadcast type stuff. Right. So, they're thrusting more responsibility onto the community and giving them the resources to bring these matches to the people at home. Everybody clamors to, hey, we want to see more matches. We want to see more matches. So do we. And these individuals want to bring you more matches. And the fact that they've kind of broke the convention to do this is awesome. So we need to make sure as a collective, as a community, that we are supporting this broadcast to show that the juice was worth the squeeze, if you will.
For sure. Yeah, so it'll be going on side by side with the official broadcast. Basically, they will be live. The official broadcast will be live. And then once the Swiss bracket finishes up, it'll all be on the official broadcast from that point. So, obviously, we are so happy about this. This is really cool. Just have more games broadcasted. I saw a lot of great community sentiment across the board about this. I know Ender tweeted up, like, one of the biggest points of feedback the entire community has had forever. It's just getting more games on broadcast. And this achieves that, which is so, so fantastic. And I'm really pumped that we're moving in this direction. And yeah, I see some people talking to like maybe for Worlds 2. I don't know. It feels like with this, the door's open to some really cool options. We've had community members like interviewed on the broadcast before too. I don't know. It definitely feels like the broadcast is expanding in a really cool way, which is super exciting.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And what else it does, it gets more casters an opportunity to show their mettle, step up on the big stage, get an opportunity to show what they can do. I know a lot of these casters have done that already. but it's this isn't a one and done situation, right? So there is a path through the grassroots commitments that you are a part of, you being casters and TOs and spectators. A lot of those folks from grassroots tournaments have been plucked to start supporting the competitive scene of Unite on an official capacity. So I mean, every step that we take forward is these two rings, the rings of the Venn diagram squeezing closer together to become a perfect circle, which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be sweet. But back to the actual tournament that we were discussing, EUIC. We discussed the Swiss Open stage. We discussed the group stage and how that's going to look. We haven't talked too much about top 8 because really it's going to be tough to guess how that's going to break down. Who knows what we'll be looking at by the time Saturday comes around. Obviously, it'll be some very exciting Pokemon Unite, but who knows what teams are going to make it on a winner's side on group stage and what teams will be able to make a crazy losers bracket run, because all these teams have shown that they're capable of it. So I believe Banana Lands is the appropriate term that you like to use. So I think
I do like to pepper in a Banana Lands from time to time.
I'm a big Banana Lands. I saw somebody in chat say, I can't wait to see the fits. I will say, I did get a couple of new jackets in literally yesterday, so I am pretty excited. They're quite fun. They're quite fun.
I've got a vest for one day and I've got a jacket for another. So I'm excited too. Going to be bringing those, and Spraggles is going to pop off with something as well. Nobody's going to be looking not dapper.
Yeah. We'll always be dressed to the nines if given the opportunity. So yeah, don't worry about that. Other than that, I felt like Deuce Next we should probably just get at the episode now. We'll round it out a little bit more, but I wanted to know from you, is there any region that or any of those groups that you're really excited to see happen first? We already talked about like some of the storylines in each of the groups. We obviously have K's versus For Free as one of our first round matchups. We have Alter Ego versus Antic, Holic versus Rework Respawn, and Legacy versus Fusion. Out of those, what do you think is the must watch out of all those groups?
I mean, it's hard to not say K's and For Free in Group C, but I believe it's Legacy right over in Group D. I think that's going to be another. I think that's going to be another good matchup to tune into for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, if Fusion can win that game, it feels like one of the most proving ground games to me in Group D. Like Fusion, they are always winning, they're always doing so well, but there's always that question in the back of your mind, is there anyone that can really challenge them in the region and things like that? There's some great Peruvian teams, but sometimes it's just Fusion walking away with the tournaments. But if they can beat Legacy, then all of a sudden it's okay, Fusion they're real, they're the truth, so that would be pretty sick.
So, I was going to ask you, what do you think is your kind of hallmark matchups going into this top 8 between the qualified teams, the pre-qualified teams?
If I'm going to pick one, I might go with Unite Holic versus Rework Respawn. Well, okay, it's For Free versus this case. I think that's it.
Right.
I think that's too good. But Unite Holic versus Rework Respawn would be a really exciting matchup just for the storylines that we already had talked about before. We have the Mame versus Reggie matchup. I'm excited to see Rework Respawn at full strength and not kind of down a player for arbitrary reasons. So I'm super psyched about that, and I've put a lot of stock behind LATAM North as a region. So getting to see them compete in international stage again is going to be awesome. So that is the one I'm personally the most excited for. But banger matchup wise, I think it's Group C. I think that's going to be the best actual. It's the one that everyone's going to be most excited to see, I think, personally. But
I agree. And it's hard when you have the star power on both of those teams, right? One of which is, again, an EU super squad that's trying to prove that it can carry the region, and then it's this K's team, Kabi-chan's, that absolutely had a great showing in the ACL, was able to show up here, and is what a lot of people would consider the best team in the world. So something to think about.
That's true. Imagine if Yala gets in Group C. Oh, just nightmare fuel for free
Oh, yeah.
at any turn. We are gonna see some doomed brackets with how the seedings work for sure. I mean, we're talking about if there's group of deaths or not. We only know 50% of the teams that are gonna be in there. We absolutely are gonna have to relook when we see a fully formed group and be like, oh boy, good luck out there, folks.
Yeah, good luck indeed.
Yeah, it'll be wild shenanigans. Other than that, Doof Snakes, I feel like we talked about meta and format quite a bit on our last podcast episode. So if you're interested on kind of our breakdowns on all of the regions, I mean, specifically EU, NA, and Brazil, we talked about quite a bit as well. You can go check all of that out on our last podcast episode. But heading into this tournament, no real balance patch on the horizon, so I'm sure we are going to see a whole lot of speedster heavy composition, some Mimikyu, hate or love depending on who you ask. I think Buzzwole, Leafeon, Crustle, Blastoise are kind of still going to be the big bads in terms of banning phase. Yep. Anything other than that, Deuce Snakes, that you've seen, I know you stack with some top players, anything that's kind of emerging as like a crazy pick out there that people are being like, no, this is very good.
I think everybody's kind of wisening up. If they haven't before, certainly now that Glaceon, the nerfs to that are irrelevant. So, like, yes, it did something, but it didn't do enough. Like, that character is still absolutely banana lands. The supporter priority is a little wacky. I know you mentioned who Eldegoss might be on the rise. We might see that getting banned more. Gosh, it feels bad banning an Eldegoss. Like,
it does.
That does not feel good.
Well, you could only do it on purple side, right? You'd have to ban LD and like pick Hoopa, which, I mean, then you're giving them Blissey. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't feel good in draft.
It does not feel great. It almost feels like you're trying to, like, it almost feels like you hamstring yourself by doing that. Because, Orange side, like you said, probably is not going to be banning an Eldegoss because they have, they're kind of in that Buzzwole, Leafeon-esque jail. Certainly Buzzwole jail. So, yeah. Other than that, I don't think anything's too wild of a shakeup. Watching teams like GT where like Egnoob has been taking like heavy mime tank, that might be something we can see out of them, or other teams with notable mime players like Nouns. I think we're kind of settled out.
My take on the metagame, or at least what I'm interested to see, is kind of twofold. I think we're going to keep seeing the heavy chase onto a level 4 flank if you can get it. If you can't, your job is to deny it from your opponents in draft to make sure that neither of you have a good level 4 gank. But I wonder if Brazil and LATAM's going to bring this Sylveon that we see so much from them. Like, we see it in other regions too, but I feel like there is a crazy focus on that Pokemon, especially in Brazil, but LATAM South I was watching a lot of do it as well. They really enjoy that Pokemon. That's a big one. And then it's just kind of the top path question mark. Those get a lot of bans, so it's interesting to see where we end up. Blaziken was picked quite a bit in March Cup, but it didn't have the best win rate. It was sub 50%, so struggling a little bit. I don't think that was true worldwide, though. I think it's done better in other regions other than EU and NA. But Gyarados is, I think, a very, very strong pick, and maybe it's just taking people a little bit longer to lock into it, but yeah, I don't know. There's still questions, which I think is exciting to see, that we're still going into a metagame where at least I don't have the perfect read on it, so I can't wait to see what teams are.
I'm not sure anybody has the perfect read on it, right? And that's what's going to make this fun. And the fact that we're going in
competition.
Yeah, with everybody that has just a different read on what you're supposed to be doing is excellent. It's just awesome. So obviously big fan of that.
True. That's true. Well, Deuce, thanks. Any more to talk about EUIC, the event, what people can look forward to seeing, anything like that before we close out the episode?
Do we want to throw crap at the wall and see, just kind of pick maybe 8 teams from who we know of this open bracket that might fill out the rest of our bracket here?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. Can you see it okay on screen right now?
I can.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so we can see them all. So we do have confirmation. Bina now said that every team except FA Brazil is confirmed now. So we can definitely make some picks on this one. I'd be all right with that. Let me see. Draw on page here. Okay, so our picks. I feel like I'll. We want to go back and forth, maybe.
Yeah.
Pick some teams who we think will be making. Okay, my first pick, no surprise. I'm gonna be taking them to be making it out of the Swiss stage. I'm not shy about how much I think this team is good. They are playing without Relent, and they're going to be playing with Metallic for this tournament. Metallic finally turned the proper age to be making it into the Unite Championship Series, and they're the one that's going to be attending London with them. So they're going to be playing with a new player, but I'm pretty high stocks on Nemesis.
Yeah. I'll stick with NA as well, and I will go with GT to kick off this conversation. I think they make it through.
Thought it was going to be a rare Brave Birders pick. Brave Birders sweep. We need Wonder Chef to get the Brave Birders sweep pick. Okay, GT's good. I'm going to grab Entity 7 Janice? Who knows? I'm going to grab Entity 7. They literally won LATAM North this most recent tournament. They're going to be a pretty easy pick there.
I'm gonna have to go with next. This is the Nouns bounce back. Nouns is gonna get it done on their home. Is gonna get it done on their home turf here.
Oh, I like it. I was somewhat worried we weren't gonna get the Nouns, but okay. All right, now things get a little interesting. Let's give the vouch to Big Uzi. Luminosity's making it out. Let's go. Apparently,
yeah, it's tough to bamboozle the Big Oozle. They're going to be out there. I think Flareon's is going to be playing with them too. So,
wait, really?
Yeah, I think
sick
so.
Team. That's a sick squad. Okay, let's go, LG.
Pretty deep.
I like this new roster.
Assuming that there's no shenanigans, Yalla Bingo.
Oh yeah. That's the thing is we're gonna like get through this list and be like, oh yeah, I completely forgot about that team. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need 2 more teams, huh? To make it
2
out.
more teams.
Now this is interesting. I don't really know how to rate Shin and Rude or SAR. They are a very, very good squad, but I haven't seen them play in a hot minute. And they didn't make ACL, I don't think. But Phantom Forces were Exile's pretty good. I am going to go with Exile, making it out of open bracket.
Okay. How many do we have there?
That's 7.
7? Yikes! Like that just shows how deep this is.
I know.
There's a couple teams that I would like to pick from here. God, I kind of wanted to go Outer Banks, but now now that I know it's 8th, I kind of want to take SAR.
Oh,
just because they're traveling, and I think that like if you're traveling to game, you gotta make some magic happen for the squad. Is Phantom Forces on there twice? Yes, they are. Above Nemesis and under Nouns. Yeah. It was a trap. I'll go SAR. I'll guess SAR. Why not?
Okay, good to know. That's really funny. Well noticed that. It's a side. Yeah, dude. Phantom Forces side up twice. Phantom Forces white and Phantom Forces black. It's crazy. All right. So SAR, Yalla Bingo, Luminosity, Exile, Nemesis, Nouns, GT, and Shanty 7. I mean,
there's nothing free. That's a free sending these.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's the tough part about Swiss, right? Is normally Swiss is used in very large tournaments where you're kind of just a drop in the bucket. Your chance of going up against an extremely good player, a good team, is quite low. But did we really put 4 NA teams? Hey, let's go.
I've never said I wasn't a homer, so
that is true. We haven't denied it. That's so funny. Okay.
Never denied it. Not gonna start now.
Yeah. I think those are the clear picks though. That I don't think I would ever change them. There are teams though who I think are absolutely capable of doing it. Outer Banks, YouTube with Picadiff, right? Des Croissants. Team Woo Woo can shake it up a little bit. Some Sableye gameplay. Who knows?
I'm here for it, man. This is gonna be so good. This is
It's gonna be an awesome event.
So good.
Oh, there's new jackets. There's a second broadcast. It's gonna be lit. What more could you want?
Nothing. You can't ask for anything more, Zoinks. It's perfect.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a dream. Really, Fortune's and then really YT. I don't even know who is on a YT anymore. I don't know.
It's just Pigadiff in for
Phil.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Otter.
That's gonna go fun. That's a fun team.
It is a fun team. I think that guy's asking like, he's like not them, but anyway, yeah. I think they are like good enough to be considered up there. ABCD is also a crazy good squad. I'm excited for a few of these teams. It'll be their first performance on LAN as well. None of the NA teams we listed, but some of the EU teams, like if we did ABCD or something like that, would be their first option. So it'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool. In terms of plugs and things like that, I did want to let everybody know on Friday, we're doing an EUIC preview show over on the Pokemon channel, on the Twitch channel. I'm going to be representing Unite on it, but basically every single game will be on there, like a rep for VGC, TCG, and Go. And we're just going to be kind of doing a roundtable talk about EUIC and all things there, which is going to be pretty cool. So tune into that on Friday. It'll be really fun.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's huge. The fact that we've got a seat at the table now, we've kind of always been on the outside looking in on these kind of competitive collectives across all the games. And they're finally seeing the value of bringing us in, and Zoinks is going to be an awesome representative. So we're excited you're taking the helm for us on that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Unite's in a really cool spot, especially competitively, and it's going to be awesome to show it at the on the international stage. It's gonna be cool. We've been there once before, but now it feels we have an open bracket now. I don't know. It's so much bigger and better. It's gonna be awesome.
It's elevated for sure. It's gonna be sick. Exclamation point factor. Don't forget and follow at Big Bridget on Twitter.
Because it's their birthday. And happy birthday, Bridget. I don't know if you're still in chat, but everybody make sure to wish Bridget a happy birthday and whatever you best have. But that being said, everybody, the next podcast episode probably won't be for a couple of weeks, but it will be our post Aeos Cup episode, which is going to be super exciting. Obviously, we'll have the results from this event. We'll know the first team guaranteed to go to Worlds this year.
Yep.
And obviously there'll be a lot of talking points because, well, the teams will have played against each other internationally for the first time in Season 3. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to see you all there. And make sure to tune in on either Unite Battle Hub or the official channels to watch EUIC. We'll see you all then. Bye-bye.